All right, so there's a small percentage of COVID that causes psychotic breaks.
Yeah.
Well, I
Wow.
mean, since it's affecting taste and smell, it's got to have some sort of neurological component.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's a neurological thing.
Shouldn't we be researching that more?
I'm sure.
Oh no, it is the zombie plague. Raid zombies.
Well, it could turn out to be.
Everything tastes like brains.
Oh, what if that's it? What if brain is the only thing that has taste?
I think that is the name.
That's
of
the
the
name of the
episode.
episode.
Yeah, that's the name of the episode. Everything tastes like brains.
Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. I'm Bill.
I'm John.
I'm Charles.
I'm Seth.
I'm Jenna.
I'm Chris.
And we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. We thought we would start off, being that this is the first of the year. Well, not the first, but the start of the new year. Talking about Boston Dynamics, which released a robot dancing video on New Year's Eve. And we were kind of talking about that a bit before the show started, and you can kind of see the dancing dog there and the two anthropomorphic robots. And we thought it might be kind of interesting to talk about if you were to buy one of those robotic dogs for your house, maybe as a defensive thing or just as a companion animal, how would you equip it? What would you want to put on that robot to make it useful?
Well, first off, why would you buy one of those? Like,
why would you? Why wouldn't you?
Well,
Because
I mean,
you don't have to pay Dobermans to, watch your rich gated lawn.
Or
Like,
a
now you
security
just
guard
have
for that
laser
matter.
robot dogs.
You don't have to clean up poo. You don't have to feed it, except maybe you plug it in. Maybe that's the equivalent of feeding. I don't know.
well, what I'm getting at is what is the actual what is the actual purpose? Because did they make them just to be high-tech pets?
Well, I made them
Or-
for all kinds of things. Like you could
Right.
use it to go into areas that would be hostile to humans. For example,
Yeah.
maybe you
Right,
need it
it's
to go
not made
into
for
a
any particular purpose. It's a general robot.
general purpose robot.
Come on, Seth. Ultimately, we all know this. The first use for this is probably going to be warfare.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was reading an article this week that they'd made transparent aluminum, and the very first application they said that they for it was body armor, and I'm like, well, screw you guys.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, what else? Actually, what else would it be good for?
Well,
John,
I don't know about the transparent aluminum. But I
it's
figured the
fine.
robots would be sex robots.
would you wear transparent clothing?
Not made of aluminum. It sounds a little thick.
I
Well,
mean, why would you need transparent armor?
To see.
It's just
would
supposed
To
to
look
be-
out.
Well, I'm
You
guessing
put glass. You put transparent aluminum windows up, and then you can look out, and you can get shot at and stuff. And
well, I was answering more of Seth's question about using these things. I mean, you could put a camera on some of these robots and just send them to sweep the Amazon for any new ruins or minerals or herbs, or to see what uncontacted people are. And now
and
this is their
scare
new
the
god.
shit out of them.
This is their new god.
Hey, your robot dog comes back with all of these arrowheads sticking out of it.
Okay, so it's at the spot is what the dog one is, and it is automate sensing and inspection, capture limitless data, and explore without boundaries.
What's one of those going to set you back, Seth?
I don't know. It says contact sales. You can't exactly order one on Amazon.
What'd you say, Chris?
25,000?
75,000. You can buy it
Chris.
today.
Chris, you can do that,
I mean, just because I can doesn't mean I should.
but you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it.
Well, what would you equip it with?
For me, I guess my use would probably be nighttime monitoring of my house or the neighborhood, walk up and down the street.
Well,
So
for that
like
kind of
night
money,
vision cameras
you'd want to
and
do
cameras.
everything. It's like I'd want it to have its own Wi-Fi hotspot. I'd want it to do everything. I want it to make dinner. I want
but
it
to
to
do
do all the things.
everything, you're going to need to pay more. It's $75,000 for the bot.
Exactly. So why not spring for the rest? This, get the suite, get the full package, get the
Yeah, that's just the 4 legs and the torso. You don't get the head with that.
Yeah, you don't even get the head.
I want a
Do you
saddle.
think at
I
some
want to be able
point
to
these
ride
will
it.
replace companion animals for people that have special needs?
In nursing homes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could actually hook up biometric sensors to it, so it could actually rather than that. Oh, the dog has a special sense where it guesses that you don't feel well. You could actually literally, the dog could have biometric sensors and internet to alert medical authorities.
Yeah, but the dog also provides, well, 1, companionship, and 2,
right.
Does a
costs
robot
only
dog
maybe thousands of dollars to train, as opposed to hundreds of
Oh,
thousands
you
of
mean a
dollars to
living
train.
Yeah, he's saying a living dog has more
Living
purpose
dog.
than just
You-
like safety.
You have to
No,
you have
but-
to differentiate,
guys,
Seth. You have to
they've
say
done-
you just said a dog. So
Yeah,
we
Yeah,
have two
dog.
different. There's
They've
2
done
different dogs
stuff.
we're talking about here: robot dogs and not robot dogs.
This is the world we're walking into, where you have to specify: is this a real dog or a robot dog?
Well, at
And
least in
guys,
this
they've done
conversation.
studies with robots, and actually nursing home residents get the same gratification out of a robot, even if they know it's a robot, like emotional, their blood pressure came down, everything,
Really?
as a real animal.
Huh.
Huh.
So we just programmed the robot dogs to like wag their tails and
See, look at that. It can open up a door, help people with wheelchairs or whatever, or
That's the end of the
No,
world.
mobility impaired individuals to get in and out of a room.
why does it have to be a dog? Like, I've told Seth and Chris, because I'm still trying to con them into a retirement.
Oh, that's how they
oh
attack.
no, they're
Yeah, what we-
cooperating.
Yeah, that's how they
Yeah.
attack. That's how they
What
get
we
out.
need is like a humanoid caregiver that will ultimately like look more human and cute, so you don't have to pay somebody to live in your home. You will have someone who will constantly be
So
there
a sex doll.
to
Yeah,
read
well,
your
I was wondering how
biometric-
quickly Rule 42. would
Now
apply,
Jenna's
but yeah.
talking about Baymax from Big Hero 6.
Well, yeah, but it's like so that we can finally once and for all dump our parents in a home and never have to go back.
No, I'm talking about I can be in my home. I
Yeah.
can be in my home with my friends and only my friends, and I can trust this thing to sit here and monitor my data and take care of me and lift me up, and I don't
Put
have to
you in
worry
the
about a
bath.
human who will steal from me, who will abuse me, who will rape me, because there's a high incidence of rape from staff in nursing homes. All of these things.
That's an interesting question. What kind of could you keep it from being corrupted by hackers?
Not
Yes.
ultimately. Once you put that thing online, it's inevitable. It's not whether or not it's possible. It's what do you do to safeguard yourself, and
Right.
what are the limits that a hacker could do with it.
Would
You
you
gotta
like keep
constantly
it off
apply
the
patches.
Wi-Fi until like it has an emergency situation, and then it knows to automatically connect to the Wi-Fi and shoot to emergency services?
It's hard to say. It relying on it having to make a decision on whether you want it to connect or not is hard. We are moving towards an always on, always connected world. So I don't know. We have not put enough focus on that, and it depends to what level of AI that these are ultimately going to have the capability of having. So
What are you sharing there with us?
That's a
Seth?
picture of Baymax.
Yeah, that's what
Oh.
Jenna wants. Jenna wants Baymax.
No, I want a cute little cat girl that's like 5 times my
Well,
my.
Oh no,
strength
so
of
Chris
strength.
was right. You want a sex bot.
No, I want a cute little cat girl who will
So
like.
first of all, Baymax is from a movie called Big Hero 6 that came out almost a decade ago now.
yeah, while
Yeah.
So yeah,
But he's
man,
a
time
healthcare.
flies.
He was made to be that healthcare,
A healthcare provider, yeah.
big, huggable, non-threatening.
Right. Well, John mentioned something about wanting to put lasers on his.
Oh yeah,
Robot dog.
I'd want to Terminator up my robot dog.
But then what's your liability if that thing lasers somebody to death? Puts a
Uh,
laser beam through their skull, and all they were doing is retrieving a ball from your yard.
Oh no! It wouldn't do that if it came in the house without my permission.
Oh.
Or maybe even with my permission, because accidents happen. But it's like,
I mean, with your permission,
Someone has to
it's
sign
not
a
an
waiver
accident.
before entering
We
your
lost Jenna.
Yeah.
Well, you do want to have a program.
crossing the threshold indicates consent.
We did.
You wanna
Thank you
have
for
it-
coming into my house.
You do want to have a program to get rid of the body for you.
Guys, we lost Jenna.
We did.
Yeah.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Oh. We are now, we also acquired someone else, so
that's yeah.
We did.
You want to hook a laser
Is
up
that a
to
real
that?
cat, Seth, or is that a robot?
this is a real cat. No robot would allow itself to become this fat.
So do you think it would be sufficiently deterrent enough if you had your robot dog emit a sound that made it sound like the Tyrannosaur from Jurassic Park?
Ooh.
I don't want a robot dog. I want a robot mini velociraptor to
That's what those
To
two
ride.
dogs going.
ride and to keep as a pet.
Those two dogs that we saw going through the door reminded me of that scene in Jurassic Park where the velociraptors are coming in and using their heads to open up the door and go into the kitchen and chase those two kids.
Yep.
Basically.
That's what
I
it
know,
reminded me
right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I too want one of these for home defense. I just want to have that arm with the mouth on it, and then it, whenever somebody like comes in unannounced or without my permission, it just like finds them in the dark, opens that mouth, and just makes this hiss.
So you want to? You don't want to have the robot sound. You don't want it to be like make a demon sound. Get out of my house or anything like that. Because I'd want to scare him. Like maybe just have a little
yeah,
girl's
we're
voice.
starting
A
off with-
tisket, a tisket. That would scare the hell out of me.
Oh man,
If I walked in, I'm robbing a house. A tisket, I'm coming for you.
yeah, we're starting off with pants emptying fear, pants filling fear,
I like that.
and then we'll proceed to its more.
That is a good way to quantify
More violent
it. I
options.
like that quantification. It's like not just it's like I pooped myself, I filled my pants. That's the level of fear that I would want my dog to inspire.
And
My
I
robot
mean,
dog.
Ideally, you don't want to hurt anyone, but okay. So I said that, and Jenna's
And the camera zooms in on Jenna.
zoomed in on her face as she's going.
That was something right there.
That was
Wow.
wonderful.
That was awesome.
Well,
I was going to say deterrence is, or
scaring someone is
them
actually
away,
probably
if
a
you can.
valuable lesson. I would consider
Scaring
that
them
actually
is
that you
correct.
should pay tuition for this level of fear because it teaches you a valuable lesson about, hey, maybe I've made some bad decisions in my life if there's a robot dog that's talking to me in demon voices.
Although I
Was.
think that the history of mankind shows that we eventually get used to the fear and it no longer affects us to the same level. And so, after you've had a chance to think about the fact that this thing roared like a tyrannosaur or talked like a demon or a child, you're going to think, yeah, I got to go back and show my friends this. This is kind of crazy. And then pretty soon you're no longer afraid of it. And then what do you do?
and
what is-
that is when your robot deploys the
Yeah.
darts tipped with curare, and
Yeah.
it wakes up tied up by this robot.
Yeah, these aren't your Isaac Asimov robots. There's no laws of robotics. These robots can kill if you set them up to.
Because
It's like
remember, they've already come with robots that can eat to power themselves from organic matter.
What?
Yeah,
I-
they've created robots
didn't
that
know.
can power themselves from organic matter.
so they can be autonomous.
They can clean up the body.
So
Well, I
Ken-
mean, but if they can power themselves, then they can just roam the land, can't they? I mean, and like
Well,
weird.
See, now that you've introduced that, I mean, maybe I don't want them to scare the people away. Maybe I want people to try and rob my house now, and then I use the bodies to power my Tesla home battery.
there you go.
No.
Do they have to poop after that? I mean, it's like
The robots?
ingestion usually requires evacuation at some point.
Yeah. whatever.
Organic. I mean, we're organic creatures are very wasteful. The robot might be able to just keep breaking
100% conversion to energy.
Yeah.
Well, then why don't we run the planet with robot dogs? Because that would be the most ecological way to do it.
Well, I mean, we're still working on this. I mean, we don't know if killer robots eating bodies is even feasible on a large scale yet.
How do you test that without being absolutely awful?
I mean, you test it on a small scale, a few bodies.
So the robots inventors are saying, oh, no, they're going to be vegetarian. They're going to be able to go off of, we wanted to show that they'd be green energy and they can go off of renewable, like, plant matter and stuff. I need to send this to
carbon is carbon.
It kind of reminds me of the most recent Voyager episode, the penultimate episode of this season. Have you seen it, John?
Voyager? That's 2000.
I'm sorry, Discovery.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So in this episode, the Federation is trying to negotiate a treaty with the Emerald Chain, which is Orions and Andorians. And so the leader is sitting in this conference room, and they bring in this fruit and vegetable tray. And one of the Orions is eating a slice of apple. And she said, it's not as good as the real thing. And he said, well, I've never had the real thing. The Federation guy said, all I've ever had is this. And she said, well, yeah, you really should try the fresh ones. They're really much better. And he said, this is made from our shit. And she looks at him and he goes, yeah, it takes our shit and uses that as the source material, decompiles it down to the atom, and then recompiles it as to whatever food we need. And she slowly picks the piece of apple out of her mouth and gets it back on the table.
Oh, the things you wish you didn't know.
Yeah. He said, it's pretty good considering you're eating shit.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see something like that in Star Trek. That was hilarious.
Never ask how the food is made.
Yeah.
What's that, Jenna?
Never ask what's in it.
I've the couple of headlines on the human eating robots, corpse eating robots for today's date, so Linda can see it too.
Is there? Okay, so there's actual articles about corpse eating robots, not just like biomatter eating robots.
Yeah, there's the latest one I just sent her actually gives a diagram, which is great. That I think would be great for the podcast. Example eater demonstration system.
What the?
Eater demonstration system. That sounds ominous as hell.
Yeah, that smacks of
Hey,
yeah.
you guys keep saying you want to be in the Star Wars universe. This is how you get there.
Well, that
I
right.
want to be there as myself, not as an energy source.
Jenna.
Right.
This is like Star Wars: The Final Solution. It's like it's kind of scary a little bit.
This is how you get eaten by robots, not wielding a lightsaber and being a space wizard.
Well, isn't that how Jabba fed his what was that creature that was
Rancor?
The Rancor. He fed him organically.
Well, but he was also frowned upon as a ruthless mob boss too. Yeah.
Which we all know, like if it becomes available to purchase a corpse eating robot, the first people to use it will be like
Mafia.
Well, yeah, but all it'll do is chew them up.
cartels.
It won't destroy the DNA, will it? I mean, it's gonna just be.
It could. Could you have the corpse eating robot eat the corpse and then use your CRISPR technology to alter the DNA so that it was undetectable, untraceable?
Well, then you would have to change every single piece of DNA in the thing. It's like CRISPR only works. All right, if you want to change the entire DNA of a creature, you have to almost get it when it's in the earliest stages of reproduction.
Yeah,
Right now.
So Bill,
we started off with 2021 for robot overlords, and now that we've also had this advancement in CRISPR, or we're going to get the clones, because you already know China and Russia is like creating clones. Come on. They have no problems like improving their human population, like using science.
Making super soldiers.
Yeah. Or super athletes, because that's what Russia was doing the Olympians.
Right.
If you've ever seen the documentary Icarus.
Yes, I have actually. Yeah, that was
That
good.
scientist is still under protection and his family in Russian custody, basically hostages, as he's like hidden in America.
I'm sure if they find him, Putin will be feeding him polonium,
Yeah.
right? Like he did to that other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been nuts hearing about the still continued spy stuff going on and people getting poisoned and whatever. Like, oh, they believe he was poisoned 2 weeks ago at such and such event while shopping, doing whatever, and it's just like, whoa.
And his
Yeah.
daughter was like that one dude whose daughter was a secondary victim because she happened to touch that like door handle after him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, Putin has a favorite poison. It's like polonium, and
Yeah.
polonium's just rude. Literally, it's so nasty, and dangerous.
Is it rude or is it personal?
Um,
Is it a personal touch kind of thing? You know?
yeah, I guess, yeah, it would be. It's like, I want you to know. It's like if you get a polonium diagnosis, you kind of know it
Yeah.
was him.
No.
Yeah, it's his calling card, if you want to say.
But you know, it's kind of like, is that kind of like the supposedly what? So in Transcendence, which also takes place in 2021, Johnny Depp gets shot with a bullet, but it's not the bullet that kills him. It's like they had poisoned the bullets with like radiation or uranium or something, so it couldn't get out of his system. Is that kind of what that other poison you're talking about does? Like there's no getting it out?
Right. It's polonium. It gets taken into your body and then it's irradiates you from the inside before you can purge it from your system. So
Same kind of premise.
It does sound awful.
yeah. Well, while we're on the subject of robots and stuff, let's switch over to Mandalorian a little bit and talk about the Dark Troopers. I take most of you guys have seen the Mandalorian, right? All of it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not
how
all
about
of
you,
it, but I
Chris?
don't mind. Let's jump into it.
Okay.
Oh no.
So, what do you guys think of the Dark Troopers?
All right, so
I mean, it makes sense
the-
that they want to take out the human element that's completely flawed, that keeps getting shot.
Well, actually, and that's kind of the proof of what's the problem with the robot overlords is that eventually, robots are going to have to destroy us because we're the least efficient part of any system.
See, I'm not sure I liked how this ended because I thought everybody had figured out already that you shouldn't let a Jedi babysit.
so
Based on
Are you-
Obi-Wan
are-
Kenobi,
Are you
Charles?
talking about Anakin and how badly that
Just
turned
saying.
out?
I mean, maybe the dark robots would have been a better option. That's
Well,
Yes, child
Luke
rearing.
Skywalker had something to say about that. So,
I know.
which actually, it's like almost the first time I've seen Luke Skywalker kick butt. It's like he never really did much that we
Well,
saw.
that's because it was when in the later movies, like that they just did The Last Jedi, he did kick ass when he was fighting Kylo Ren, but that was, more CGI, but they just didn't have the level of choreography for fight scenes that they do now.
Right.
Or the special effects, probably.
So,
Yeah.
so with these troopers, they can actually hit stuff.
Yeah, I know. That was
I mean, in theory, they didn't really. Oh yeah, they did shoot Mando several times and hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Beskar saved him. It was good that he was wearing that, but it's like, man,
multiple
he had to
times.
really work to kill just one, and Luke went through a platoon of them, like without effort. It
Yeah,
was-
like he was carving through butter.
yeah.
So myself, a child of the 80s and 90s, the Dark Troopers were a cool reveal to me because the Dark Trooper has been around since one of the very first Star Wars games that was out on PC, Dark Forces.
Huh.
And Dark Forces followed a mercenary who was hunting down this Dark Trooper program and shutting it down, and you encountered 3 different versions of the Dark Trooper. And you can see like the 3 phases in the game there.
Cool.
It was a really cool. At the time, it was a first person shooter out really close to the original Doom, but back then, LucasArts was making really good video games.
Well, how do the Death Troopers in Mando rank with the Death Troopers in the game?
Well, it's been a long time since I played the game, but I do remember that they were a serious threat. Like when you encountered one, it was a challenge. When you encountered three, you pulled out everything you had and maybe survived. And I mean,
Hello.
Hello, Seth. Hello.
Yeah, apparently Siri, a robot, thought I wanted to talk to her.
Maybe she wanted to inject her own feelings on the subject of roboting overlords.
Yeah, but yeah, so the Dark Forces games were really good. And now they're part of the expanded universe or Legends. But apparently they reintroduced them in the show. They're in Clone Wars and Rebels as well. And now we get to see them or we did see them in Mando.
Why not? It was fun.
It was. They're
So do we expect to see Grogu again?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
They're probably going to tie him into the later movies. Lucian from the Weekly Geekly was talking about that, about how, before Luke started the school, this could be the phase that he's in where he was training individuals and trying to identify Force sensitive. Grogu ends up going and doing something else. Maybe he comes back to Mando and then meets up with Rey because he's still going to be young, like in the later movies that they'll come out with next.
He's still going to be, he'll still be really young when Rey's around.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we'll get kind of the teenage Grogu, just all moody and
emo.
Like Teen Groot? It's like,
yeah.
I am Groot. It's like, don't talk to me that way. But, all right. So you think the Mando's going to get his own spinoff now?
Well, the Mandalorian's its own show. Like,
it's supposed to be about the Mando, but it's been about Baby Grogu.
Yeah, it has.
So it's like, I'm kind of happy to see Baby Grogu. I like Baby Grogu. I do. That's fine. But it's literally eclipsed the Mandalorian.
No.
I'm excited to see where the show goes without Baby Grogu.
So
I would argue I would think you're right on that, because a lot of the commentary and discussions on the Mandalorian, even going into season 2, have been about
all of it,
Baby, and less about Mando. Even though they had storyline things in there to get more background and talk about other Mandalorians out there in the universe, the conversation still keeps coming back to Baby Grogu.
See, I think that's more because people like the cute Muppet than...
It's a monster, let's be real. That
it is.
guy is a monster.
Yeah,
but
he practices genocide for breakfast, literally.
Yes.
The show is about the Mandalorian who is protecting it. Like, that is it's about him. There is the person on the quest, and then there is the object of the quest, and he doesn't talk, Grogu doesn't talk. He doesn't do anything. Then every now and again commit some atrocity.
But I think Grogu has given the Mandalorian a sense of maybe humanity that he didn't have before.
Or at least a sense of purpose.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he seems to be caring more about individuals than he did before.
And let's not forget, the series has set up this conflict for him. Is Bo-Katan going to just try and straight up kill him to take the Darksaber, or are they going to try and collaborate to take back Mandalore?
So, I don't understand that whole deal with the Darksaber, because in Clone Wars, Sabine just, gave it to the...
That's what Moff Gideon
Bo-Katan
has said, though. It's come to a point where there is now a legend around it. It's not there is a legend around it that is calling to different parts of the universe, and this legend is now what it is. It doesn't matter how it was treated in the past. It's what people believe. and people believe that the Darksaber has to be earned, and whoever earns it is the rightful heir to the throne of Mandalore, and that is right now,
Right.
Mando.
I kind of
Because
thought you should
Mando
just.
could have just given it to her, but then
He
she wouldn't have
tried.
He
been
tried.
seen as legitimate.
I almost thought you should toss it back to Moff Gideon and let Bo-Katan kill him. So, here, yeah, go get it.
That was interrupted.
Well, then, unfortunately, it's still he would have been giving it to Moff Gideon
Instead of Moff Gideon earning it.
so he would still be the rightful owner.
But do you believe Moff Gideon earned it to begin with?
It sounds like.
I think the only
I'm certain
my
he killed
understanding
somebody
was
for
that
it.
only the earning was only required if you were going to try to rule Mandalore. Otherwise,
But yeah, he had no.
No,
Well,
I
actually,
think-
he did have some interest in Mandalore. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's like at the very least he knew what the Darksaber was. But I mean, if they're going to be so hung up on this weird thing, then screw it. But
Well, I mean,
maybe
the
maybe Mando gets to rule Mandalore.
I mean that seems like a good direction to take the series in is them freeing Mandalore.
yeah.
And maybe him being the king or whatever. But I mean,
What'd you
this
think
is
about-
just another aspect of their religion almost, right?
What'd you think about Mando removing his helmet so Grogu could see his face at the end?
That was impressive. Like
I think Bo-Katan had
Yeah.
some influence on him when he found them and they took off their helmets. I think
Right.
he started realizing he might be a little bit more fundy than he thought he
no,
was.
They straight up told him, like,
Yeah.
that's a zealot branch that broke off. You have no idea the greater, broader history of our people.
And I think that got him thinking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, and he had that experience on the Imperial base where he
Right.
also removed his helmet.
Right.
Yeah, and that was something there.
Mhm.
I don't know. Was it because Grogu was at stake?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
the only
was
reason.
they needed to find the light cruiser, and the only way, I mean, that seems like a silly security thing. It was like it doesn't verify your face; it just needs to see your face. But hey, it
Yeah,
got
that's
him
dumb.
to
It could've
remove
been
his
any
helmet
face.
because that's what the stakes required. It was either
Right.
it
You
was
can
either
have the
like-
top secret information because you have a face. That's all you need to do. You have to have one,
yeah.
If
It
you have
doesn't
one,
have,
you
it
can
doesn't have
have
to
it.
be a face that's at that particular base.
or even an Imperial soldier at all, anywhere in the records. Just if you have a face, you can have all of the data you want. Just you have to have a face. That's the line. We didn't make the rule, but that's just how this goes.
No
Yeah, that's the
droids
weak point.
allowed.
Droids have faces, some of them. 3PO has a face.
Well, not
I
he.
don't think that face would work.
No.
Well, Mando's face shouldn't have worked, but yeah.
Either way,
It's like a thumbprint ID. As long as you have a thumb, we're gonna
We-
let you have the money.
we digress
So-
from the main point that he took off. He was willing to take off his helmet.
Yeah.
Like
This is true.
the quest to get or to protect Grogu was more important than never showing his face to another being.
What do you think he's
not
going to do
just
for a?
that-
Go ahead,
the
Jenna.
emphasis was not just seeing; it was actually being touched, too.
Really?
Like, think about it. Not since he took on the helmet and the Mandalorian mantle, nothing has touched his face.
And not only that, but his heart grew 3 times in size right before
Well,
Christmas.
He's obviously shaving.
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
another
he can touch his
another
face.
living
He's-
being has not.
I
touched
liked
his
it.
face
I mean, maybe the helmet does that for him.
in that
Maybe.
future. It's like a laser shave.
It's a
Yeah.
Remington helmet,
So there's another thing
I'd
I
buy
want
that.
the dog
the closest a Mando can get.
So here's a
Boo.
interesting
to do. Mando Saul shaving cream.
theory that obviously R2D2 seemed to recognize Grogu.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just he recognized the species and got excited.
Well, there
But
was
there
the
is a
internet
theory. that
Oh, go ahead, please.
R2D2 is actually may have been the one to have saved Grogu.
Yeah.
Because Grogu would have been the only youngling big enough that he could shove into his cavity, and he would have been there when Luke was going all cray, like killing the younglings as his like ship droid.
You mean Anakin?
Let's
Yeah,
not
Anakin.
get John started on shoving Grogu into a cavity.
Well, Jenna does have a point, though. I mean, that would have been that might have been an interesting cut scene from Star Wars 3. Is like Anakin's like, R2D2, you seen any younglings? No. Thunk, 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 thunk.
Tap, tap, tap.
Well, if you look for like Grogu and younglings, you're gonna find a picture of I don't know if it's been doctored or not, but of Grogu looking like around a couch as Luke's cutting down.
Probably doctored.
I would imagine.
Well, what do you think Mando's going to do for a ship, since his ship's been destroyed?
Well, I mean, he's got a light cruiser now.
Yeah, well, actually, Bo-Katan has it, right?
Yeah.
But he's in charge. He's got the Darksaber. That's it. I mean, if she's following the rules until she takes it away from him, that's his light cruiser.
Do you think she'd be able to?
Probably
would win.
I think she's more experienced. Out of the two of them, I think she's the more experienced.
Yeah.
Let me give this.
It's just how far does she have to go? And the problem is she knows he will not fight back fully. Like they would have to be in a place that they're willing to kill each other. Like
well, and here's the thing: if he didn't fight back with all of his power and might, and she won the lightsaber, would it be considered a real win?
No, and that's why she made the face that she did. If he does not fight fully back, then it's like him just giving it to her, and that doesn't count. The story no longer matters.
So can he?
The legend.
Yeah.
Of I went into the ship, I defeated Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
I took the saber, and unites the people, the refugees of Mandalore behind her to then move forward and take Mandalore back.
So would he have nothing to worry about if he just flat out said, "If you attack me, I will not defend myself"?
She won't earn it.
Right. So would that prevent him from ever having to fight her? Because there'd be no point for her to engage him at that point, right?
There's a picture of Grogu hiding behind a chair.
Nah.
Yeah, that's doctored. I can tell from here.
From the shadow and stuff, yeah.
But
so
I mean,
yeah, so do you think that would prevent her from ever being able to take it if he refused to fight her?
Her best bet at getting that is hiring somebody else to fight him.
And then
someone who could beat him, and then killing them. So right. I don't think he would fight her unless she goes full antagonist on him and pushes him.
So that's the conflict. That's the supposedly I think what's supposed to draw us into the next season.
What'd you think about the CGI of Luke?
I thought that was pretty good.
I thought it was really good. I mean, it really was. But there's something I don't understand.
Like they credited Mark Hamill having done the voice and probably be the stand-in that they then used to create the effects.
There's another actor too, but I don't understand because they've actually hired a Luke that they're going to use for like a Luke Skywalker show, and I don't know why they wouldn't have used that guy.
I'll probably be well, I mean, you want to have your season ender be a big deal.
Bill just put up a picture of the Luke that they used, and it's very good. It really is. That's
it's pretty good.
Yeah, from what I understand, they used a deep fake for this as opposed to whatever they used for Leia in Rogue One.
Uh-huh.
Which is why it looks so good.
They should. I hope they go back and like edit that out and like maybe make a better Leia for future people who watch Rogue One.
They could do it. Yeah. I mean, they could do it in future releases or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not like George Lucas is afraid to edit the movie. It's like,
Well, that wasn't a Lucas movie, though.
well, it just seems Lucas pops up everywhere anyway. I mean, he got $4 billion for the franchise, yet he still seems to have a lot of strong opinions about the whole deal.
Well, you would
Well,
too.
why wouldn't you? It's your baby, right?
I don't know if Disney actually appreciates his comments. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Everyone has everything to say about everyone's comments these days. So
Yeah,
Right.
but
It's
but
not
there's
fair.
4 billion reasons why I think Disney could get upset about that.
depends on the contract.
Disney
Right.
probably doesn't care so long as people remember Star Wars and to watch Star Wars and to buy
Yeah.
Star Wars.
True.
Yep. Did I make money today? Okay.
It's like Fred Edwards said, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, but there is Ryan Johnson, and that can actually.
What's the difference between those two shots, Linda?
The eyes.
Yeah. The
I know,
shadowing.
but I mean, what are we looking at? Is one from the actual show and one something else?
We've just called
yeah,
up
so-
a internet link on the
I'm mixed.
face.
Because the one on the right, the face itself is better, but like the around the hairlines or whatever, it's not as well merged with the background. But the one
Yeah.
on the left is.
Yeah,
No, I
Right.
think
If I had a
the right,
combination
they
of the
allowed,
two.
so in the right they allowed more flaws in the face to come forward, and that's
to,
what makes
to
it
those of
more
us just
natural.
listening to the podcast, we
Oh,
called
okay,
up a
so
link
the-
that has two
Yeah.
pictures of Luke Skywalker. One's a deep fake, one is not, and we're discussing the quality of the
Like,
two pictures.
if you look at the forehead, like there's more wrinkles. You can see more like lines between the cheeks and the chins. Like there's more flaws in the face on the right, and that's
Yep.
what makes it more human versus the left.
Yeah, and the right's the deep fake. And the other one's what the studio did.
Yeah, so deep fakes are better.
Yeah.
That's
I mean-
scary for the future, but
Isn't it?
Yeah. I got a link I'll share with you guys later on a tech guy I follow that they did a complete recording using deepfake and audio voice deepfake. And the title of it was something like "I Can Now Retire." And basically anyone can come up here and do my job doing these YouTube videos and it'll look and sound like me.
Wow.
It was pretty cool because they went through the challenges of how far you can take deep fakes and what you can do with audio now. And they showed like an original and the the deep fake version, and it was kind of convincing. I mean, you could tell it still needed some work, but
Mhm.
at first glance, at like a small preview clip, you wouldn't know, whether it was the actual person sitting there or not. They just found somebody of similar body type and actor that they hired. They
can you
brought-
make a person? Like, can you like make a composite out of like a lot of different people that is actually no one person?
You
They already
probably
kinda
could,
do
and
that.
I think they might have addressed some of that in there.
Because I mean, that's the end of the big actor. I mean, if they can make their own actors now, they don't have to pay them.
I think deep fakes are better when you can supply the computer with a lot of different images of the person
That's what they
you're
had to
trying
do. Yep.
duplicate. Yeah.
They did several different recordings, and then they were able to. Well, actually, they didn't have to make new ones. They took a compilation of old videos over the last several years
Sure.
that the original person did. You can scan all that into a system, and the AI kind of figures it out.
But you know
Right.
how many billions of gigabytes or terabytes even of information are on like just basically cameras that people have been
Yeah,
recording?
and that's
Like-
what they brought up. It brings into concerns like when people want to do like 24/7 monitoring of places and police want it or whatever. Is ultimately they can take that information and they can make whoever they want that's sitting there.
Yeah.
But I think they could make a fake person and actually make their own Hollywood stars with that. No one could actually point to and say that's me.
I don't
Awesome.
care if they make fake Hollywood stars. What concerns me is now the blackmailing and the ruining of
Yeah, the
good
deep fake.
people. That's going to come from that. Like right now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that truly believe Bill Gates is trying to microchip us through these vaccines.
I know.
And all it's going to take is someone making a deep fake of like some secret footage of Bill in a meeting planning this and discussing this, and it's going to be craziness. Like you're going to have people who are going to react like that stupid 5G bomber in Nashville over Christmas who blew up the AT&T building there,
Yeah.
who believe the 5G conspiracy theories. Like this is definite like anarchy, completely topple governments. Like it's pretty horrifying
And-
the levels it could go. So give me fake actors. It's the other things I'm worried about.
Yeah, I mean, when you
and then there
lose
will
when you lose truth and trust, you've lost your ability to tell what is accurate and what is not. If you can't believe that something is true, that it's an accurate representation of something, and you don't trust the source of that information, you're not going to believe whatever comes out of it.
yeah, that's what I was about to say is if we just can't trust video anymore,
Right.
like, I mean, already there's we can any video you have to take with a grain of salt, but if everything is suspect, then
Yeah. Which, paints a very scary picture, especially for politics, right?
That's my point. And
Right.
now then you got to worry, like, that's first world countries. Now you go into third world countries where they have even less awareness of maybe some of this technology and what it can do, and the governments who are control there creating who knows what level of horrifying storylines, like North Korea, where they have
Right.
no access to the outside world, and the type of stories and deep fakes they create for that.
Right. Or
or
imagine if before the election, Giuliani had managed to come up with a fake video of Biden's son doing something illegal and putting that out days before the election, before anyone would have time to debunk it. How that might impact an election.
Well, like how Hillary and the attorney general and the whole missing emails thing, and he brought it up like 5 days before the election, and that definitely had an effect.
But if they'd used this properly, he wouldn't have had any hair leakage.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, Rudy, yeah.
Oh.
I wonder if people around him were trying to tell him, there's new modern ways to do things, and it's just he wanted nothing to do with it. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm late for my 4 Seasons landscaping interview. And it's like,
he's supposed to have a cybersecurity firm.
who? Giuliani?
Yeah.
Giuliani.
Oh fuck! I wouldn't want to listen to. All right, then. Yeah, no. That's just wrong. I can't believe that. Who would go to him now? I mean, ever?
I don't know. Rudy Giuliani is the real world example of what happens when you get the one ring for too long.
Although I could be wrong. Even I was assuming it was hair, the hair dye, but it could have been oil.
Could have been.
Or like that powder stuff. It's
He
the
could be a
powder
robot.
stuff that
A
you fill
robot.
in.
Yeah, it was a robot leak. In which case, that'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think we're just witnessing his slow transformation into whatever type of golem creature Rudy Giuliani is going to become over the next
Trump
decade.
is my preciouses. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Must protect the Trumps. Must protect the Trumps.
Have you guys been watching his Dark Materials? That we finally got through that the other day. Anybody else watching?
I've
I
seen
want
it.
to watch it.
I did. I told you I started watching it. I haven't gotten much farther because of everything else I had to catch up on. It's like it seems to all come out at the same time.
Right.
Can't they stagger this stuff better? Because I mean, it's like,
now they shouldn't have to follow the seasons.
yeah.
Like, they could just like plan for the holes.
Do you think they haven't caught up yet with the idea that the season is an antiquated concept? That's just
At this
you
point,
don't.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think more people have more. I think people have more time to watch stuff in the winter because of the cold and the darker hours. So people are indoors more, and I think that's when things tend to be
Well,
released.
that's not how nerds work, though. It's like nerds. It's like because you when you do nerd stuff, you have to talk about it online, and if you don't, then you can't go online because people are spoiling stuff. So when something nerd comes out, you have to watch it. And if you throw all the nerd stuff out at the same time, nerds lose jobs because they stop going to work.
I still want. I think I would rather have one of those armored polar bears than a robot dog.
Or you could read the books and then you can just talk about it whenever.
Well,
True.
That's nice.
Call back.
But That's Bill's idea. You know, those armored bears are really grouchy, right?
Well, some of them are.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, you don't.
I'm sure there's friendly armored bears.
I'm sure there are, but I don't think they'd want to be your pet.
You don't know. I'm a very
I
friendly
don't
guy.
know. I don't know.
I feed him fresh John every day.
I didn't know that you were a prostitute.
So I like the show. Let's see. So you've started. You're just in season 1, right, John?
Yes.
And anybody else watching it?
I've watched season 1.
Kind of started it.
We want to watch it. We have not.
I like it. It's a really good show.
It is.
Yeah, season 2 is pretty interesting. I've read the books, but it's been a while, so most of it's as I'm watching it, it's gradually coming back to me. But
I had to deal with Mando. I had to deal with Star Trek Discovery. I had to deal with Expanse.
yeah, is everybody caught up on the Expanse?
Yes.
That's good. That is, I'm liking that.
Not
it's like,
yet.
It's you know what? I didn't think they could get more political, but they did.
They did, yeah.
You know,
so much so it was kind of concerning for me because it shadows things that we deal with today, where people are fighting over politics so much they miss the bigger picture.
Yeah,
right.
End up with all these natural disasters.
Which is what
That
sci-fi
actual-
should actually do is be a lens through which we can critically evaluate our own culture. But it's like you're right. You're right. They're pointing out some dangerous parallels.
Yep.
I mean, even Mandalorian kind of did that when, Mayfeld, his episode with Mando, and they're sitting at the table, and he said, you know what people really want? They think they want freedom, but they want order. And they will do whatever they take to get the order, instead of this idea of freedom.
Yeah.
I think everything that's happening in this current season of The Expanse is all the fault of Naomi Nagata in season 1, saving that sample of the proto-molecule and sending it to Fred Johnson.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he hadn't done that, there'd be no season this season. They'd have to be talking about something else, but there certainly wouldn't be that terrorist plot.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was how you extended the seasons. Basically,
Yeah.
they needed a way to extend the plot.
But I
isn't
did think it was.
the-
I'm sorry. I don't know. I thought there was one more, maybe
One more what?
season of The Expanse. I don't.
Yes,
think
there'll be one final season.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting sort of a creative concept to use the Martian stealth technology to
Yeah.
coat asteroids
Yep.
and then hurl them at Earth so that they would bypass Earth's asteroid defenses. That was pretty creative.
Yeah, that was actually.
I am surprised that the what's her name? Amarella
Aversorala.
had to tell the president to use the Guardian satellites because that'd be the first thing I was doing is because
Yeah, but I don't think she knew that the all they saw was the aftermath of the impact. They didn't know that the asteroids had been coated with stealth technology, and that's why
they knew
were
that
getting through the
their
Something
asteroid
was
detection
going on.
system wasn't catching up.
right, but
So.
they thought it had been hacked.
Yeah.
Remember, they were
True.
talking on the plane about it being hacked, and
I would
well,
still
no evidence it's been hacked, but it must be a really sophisticated job or something.
If it was me, I would have done it. It would have been one of the first things I thought of. Is that
Yeah.
not necessarily that Martian tech, just hey, I've got a super sophisticated satellite that detects stuff. Let's try that.
Yeah. I
Check
was
that out.
just pretty irritated overall in the politics of how, she was trying to bring to their attention that something was going on. They needed to look into it and
They were
let
mansplaining.
their pride get in their way.
Yeah. Do you think Tiny's going to survive his fall?
No, I think you missed Jenna's little feminist quip there, which was actually pretty good. It's like, yes, they were mansplaining.
Do you think Tiny's going to survive his fall?
No, I don't think he did.
So Tiny
That's
is
a good question. So I was like, wait, Tiny? I was like, oh yeah, that one guy.
So for our listeners, let's just give them a little background. So Tiny is he takes mods to genetically modify himself, and he's been in this prison, and it's a super high security UN prison for all of these people that have done mods. There's a picture of Tiny on the screen, holding up Amos by the throat. anyway, they take these mods to give themselves certain physical enhancements. And this guy's done it to the point where he's like just a monster of a machine. He can, rip open steel doors and such. And but he's a criminal, so he's in this high security prison. And the area where the prison is at is hit by one of these stealth asteroids. And so the area is destroyed. And so they've got to climb out of this collapsed prison. And so they have to take Tiny with them because he's the only one that can open a lot of these doors. And of course, once they actually get out, then Tiny starts to go back to his usual homicidal tendencies, right? And starts killing everybody. And fortunately, somebody shoots him, and Amos manages to push him down this giant elevator shaft that they climbed up 10 stories to get out of. And I was just wondering, because of his enhancements, if it's possible he might have survived the fall.
I don't know.
Perhaps you should have thrown in a spoiler alert on that one.
I can put it on the.
It's the whole show.
Well, not this was very specific information about something that's in the very middle of a series.
That's
I'll
fair.
put a spoiler alert on the video.
One thing I thought was funny about Tiny is there's a scene there just before they let him out when they decide they need his help. And he's in there and he's raging, I have my rights or whatever. And then they open the door and he's like, oh, hey, guys, how's it going?
Yeah, I like that.
I know.
That part cracked me up.
That's an
he
example
saw
of
the gun.
COVID psychosis right there.
Right. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he was pretty funny in his quips in there in the relationship and Amos giving him some shit the entire time up the corridor or whatever.
Right.
Why was Amos doing that? I couldn't figure it out. He's just like
You would
goading
think
this
he wouldn't
monster.
antagonize him, I don't know.
Well,
But that's Amos.
Amos
That's not
doesn't usually go out of his way to antagonize people, especially monsters.
Really?
Amos
Amos
just
doesn't go out of his way to antagonize people.
No, it's not-
Really?
he will be intimidating, but he won't be a dick.
Passive
It's like-
aggressive.
Really.
I think
Once someone
Amos,
is a dick to him or his friends, he is gonna do exactly all that. But Tiny didn't do anything to him.
I think Amos was just trying to show that he wasn't intimidated by the guy.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't scare me. I'm
Right.
not afraid of you.
Right.
You know you almost broke my neck. You know?
Right. Well, now, so the president of Earth is most likely dead, right?
Most
Most
likely.
likely.
Most
Yeah.
likely.
Most likely.
And so, who do you think?
Unless
Do you
it's
think
got
it's going to
backup
be
plan.
Avasarala is going to be taken over again?
I think it's a
well,
power struggle. Maybe.
well, yeah. They said the cabinet was killed.
yeah,
um,
yeah, true.
I don't know how the government's set up. It's not the United States government. I don't know if they have a Congress.
Yeah.
And I don't know how their chain of command goes, but it's like Avasarala is probably in there somewhere. And if she actually stood up, went and do what she does, which is basically take charge, whether or not she actually has authority to do so or not.
Right.
I
Do we
can see
know of
that
any
happen.
other major power characters that would take over as leader other than Avasarala?
I can't think
I
of
don't
any.
think of any. It
I
makes
mean,
sense for the plot, but I don't know that.
Yeah.
If the show has taught us anything, it's that Holden is probably going to slip and fall ass backwards into,
Saving the day.
the proto-molecule?
well, that or being president just somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whoops. Oh, damn.
I don't know.
I didn't
I
want
don't know. I can't. There's all the people that we knew in terms of Earth hierarchy are dead now, except for Avasarala.
Yeah,
I think
that's
the
what I'm trying
one
to think. There's
person
was there
whose
anyone left
judgment-
alive. I don't think there is.
Yeah, the one person whose judgment I trust the least at this point is Naomi Nagata. First of all, she let
Sure.
the proto-molecule go. Then
Yeah.
she went to go find her son, who's obviously part of the terrorist movement, thinking she can, because she hasn't been around him since he was a child, she suddenly feels that she can change his life direction.
Is she
And,
just naive at this point?
Right.
She
Mhm.
just
Must be
Hopeful.
naive through the whole
regretful.
thing, I'm thinking. What was that,
You
John?
got, well, think about it. If you're really regretful, the lies you can tell yourself to
Yeah.
soothe that regret, I don't think it's naive. I think it's just the lie she told herself. It's not naivety, it's wishful thinking to redeem your failures.
They were all, the first season wasn't like James Holden did the same. He was disobeying orders and stuff.
Well, yeah, and he actually went back to his what was it, Montana ranch, out of the same kind of weird regret.
Yeah, they were all doing. I don't know.
Is it redemption arc stuff? Is that what we're seeing?
I remember it bothered me that everybody except Amos seemed to have, and now Amos has gone back home too.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, for his own redemption arc. They're all going through these redemption arcs.
This whole season basically dives into each individual crew member of the
Rocinante.
You get a little bit more insight into each one of their personal lives. So they managed to move the entire whole story arc forward, but individually how each character is kind of impacted by it. So I would say kind of maybe a little bit of a redemption arc.
The reveal that Amos's real name is Timothy cracked me up.
Timmer.
That was perhaps one of the funniest reveals of the whole season so far. Was that?
Yeah, and I mean they give Amos a backdrop that shows a little bit more of a humane side to him. That he's carrying and things like that. Because I won't jump into any spoilers with that. But everybody gets a little bit of the background. So
is he kind of like the series Jane? You guys think? From Serenity or Firefly?
Yeah, I guess he's
okay. I'll bite. Yeah,
he's very similar in personality and temperament and background, and yeah.
So Amos and Jane get into a fight. Who wins?
Amos.
Because No. If Jane has his gun, Jane.
Weapons or no weapons?
Yeah, but with fists, it's gonna be Amos.
Amos and Jane get into a quip off. Who wins?
What?
I thought it was funny when Amos went to go take a shower after the guys were in there trying to shake him down for insurance, and the guy goes, "They're gonna be waiting for you. They're gonna." He goes,
"I hate waiting.
I hate waiting."
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
And then when
he's like, "Let's just get right to it, boys."
Right. And when the authorities show up when they land, he's like, "Look, they started it. And they were all alive when I walked out."
See, and that is it. Would you see Jane doing that? Jane would actually stand up for two people that he didn't know? Because I don't think he would.
No, he'd mind his own business.
He actually literally has turned on the crew of Serenity at least twice during the show.
Unless there was money to be gained.
Yeah. Unless there's money to be gained. Yeah. But Amos will do that. Amos will take care of.
Yeah, if you're on Amos's good side, he'll do whatever he has to protect you.
He has a very strong sense of false persecution, and if someone's persecuting somebody and he doesn't like it, he's gonna.
Jane did eventually grow a conscience.
Yeah,
did he?
Chaotic.
He stood with everyone at.
He had nowhere else to
Serenity.
go. What alignment would you put him at?
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
alignment.
Yeah, Amos is definitely chaotic neutral.
And there's another to that. I don't think D&D has the amoral category anymore, but it's like if
neutral.
If they had the amoral category, then I would say he's it's situational. His morals depend on who's paying him, and where the advantage is for him. Well, Amos. I'm sorry.
I don't think that's amoral. There's an actual term for it where you're like. The morals are situational. It's like
if your morals aren't fixed, then they're but it's like so Jane would be chaotic neutral, and Amos would be a chaotic good.
Jane would be. I'd place Jane more evil.
I don't know if he's evil because
he is very happy about going. Let's be bad guys.
Yeah.
And for him, it's fun. It's all right.
I think it's neutral. He's neutral evil.
I will give you neutral evil.
Yeah, because remember when he went in the pilot, he was gonna get to torture that guy, and he took out the knife and said, "Oh, you don't know nothing." Like he was disappointed he didn't get to torture somebody.
That is my favorite scene in all.
That is the best scene.
That is the best scene.
See, now you don't know nothing.
I
was gonna get me a thumb
or an ear, something like that. But so
I'll be in my bunk.
Yeah.
That's the best line for me for the whole series. Is I'll be in my bunk. Brown.
I hear
hear-
meows.
I know.
My
same here.
kitty.
I want to see the baby.
Show me the baby.
Every once in a while, this kitty gets clingy, and I don't know
No.
why, but that's fine. You can be
Love
clingy.
me and despair. I thought Chris, outside of this, and getting ready for this podcast, brought up a good point. Mad Max takes place in 2021. You want to talk about chaos and political turmoil?
Yeah, I think my fear for 2021 is that we're going to be so wrapped up in this administration transition, at least here in the U.S., that we're going to miss some other big things that happened. We recently had Russia hacking our systems and things like that.
Yeah,
That hasn't
big
gotten
time.
the attention that I think it deserves.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it has not. It has
Because-
not gotten the attention it deserves.
I think with a lot of other things overshadowing it, COVID, politics, and things like that, we're going to miss some key things.
Well, the people who know about the hack are very, very, very worried that the Russia now has control of our electric grid, which is very bad.
And,
Yeah, I
and here's the thing, okay, so the thing that goes unsaid about that big solar storm we just had that caused Aurora Borealis all the way into Nebraska, that was still a mild solar flare. What if that had been one of those major ones that basically takes out a grid?
Well, yeah, it's like the Carrington event of the 1800s that melted telegraph wires. It would literally knock out the electric infrastructure of the planet for months at least.
Yep.
Probably
this
years.
is why our centralized structure towards power generation is bad.
And you look at Puerto Rico, where they just had that the telescope
Hurricane?
collapse.
Oh yeah.
The thing about that is, people are like, why didn't they take better care of it? It's because they are literally falling apart. Like, if anyone's close to Mad Max right now that wasn't, already in a bad situation with revolution or civil war, Puerto Rico is literally being left to rot.
Yeah,
They have no stimulus, even though they're American citizens. They've had hurricanes and earthquakes. I mean, I don't think most of their power, whatever power support they've gotten, came from Elon Musk, I thought. Because
he provided a lot of stuff that infrastructure-wise that everyone was just kind of dragging their feet on. And
Is that what's like part of the population that deals with Starlink communications, and is that Puerto Rico?
I don't know. I thought he was launching those out of the U.S.
I know, but it's like it's designed for populations that have less access to internet.
Yes.
That was the whole point of Starlink. Yeah, because people paying all over the world to have access to this internet was the hope to help fund the missions to Mars from Tesla or whatever, from Elon Musk's business. And that's having actually seen the Starlink line of satellites, that's pretty impressive.
Where'd you see him?
Pretty impressive. Me and Aaron saw them. I had sent you guys the link. I thought.
Yeah, I remember that.
A month ago, we just saw a line of them.
Right.
There was 30 of them in the sky, just perfectly moving and
Well,
standing.
where did you see him?
That.
On the way to Humphrey, Nebraska.
All right. Oh, just where the city lights aren't so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only see them a certain part of the day, right at dusk,
Well,
where the sun is hitting them.
At the right
they
angle.
sure are pissing off astronomers.
Yeah, they are.
Why does that amuse you so much, Charles? It's like, screw those astronomers. I don't like them.
Oh, in my college days, I took an advanced astronomy class, and the professor.
I just saw
Really?
you time travel, dude. Your eyes just roll back in your head. And you're just like,
Oh, I know. It's just the professor really hated people, and so if you went to her office, on her door was just covered with population. We have too many people on the earth, and let's take care of things somehow.
So
And
she's
I
gonna
was
get the
laughing.
robot
Right.
assassination dog.
we do have too many people on the earth, but let's
Well,
take care of it. Sounds a little
Well,
vague and scary.
It was pretty. Yeah.
Pretty dark.
No, I'm not saying I disagree with her. It was just.
Well, yeah, but
people
let's
got
just
in
take
the way
care
of
of
my
it.
telescope light. Let's do them. Let's get rid of them. And so anyway, I laugh every time I think of her being frustrated by satellites.
Well,
I don't know if we have too many people on the Earth so much. We just have a massively unfair distribution of resources.
Well, and resources aren't unlimited though. So
Well, yeah, that wasn't what she
reality
was
of that.
upset
well,
over.
No,
we
but-
have
but
too many
here's the
people on the
reality.
earth because the only way to deal with this much population is keep moving them into urban centers, with or without inequality. The urbanization causes a great deal of collateral pollution that is actually destroying more resources when we need more resources, and it's a cyclical effect.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of good support that if you do better at educating populations, birth rate goes down, and if we were
Women,
better
if
at
if
managing-
women get better
if we
education and
get
opportunity,
better at managing our resources and focused more on renewal, like it would help just contribute to overall less trash waste, everything like that. But that's neither here.
that would have been very, very useful in like 1960, 1970. But I think we've gone past the point where that's going to be effective now without some serious dieback.
Well,
Yeah, no,
my
I mean,
laughing, no,
that's
it was a little
fine.
closer. I always thought of her frustrations as being closer to that guy on the Twilight Zone that wanted to just read a book finally without being
Oh, yeah.
interrupted.
I had time now.
It's like,
There was time now.
it's that kind of. It wasn't as much of a.
Burgess Meredith and his broken glasses make me sad.
Yeah, it was that kind of frustration.
But I mean, so you've got Mad Max, which kind of stems from one part nuclear holocaust and other part lack of resources. That's where people want petroleum for their cars and water and things like that. We've already talked about Transcendence taking place in 2021. Bill did a great job and threw out a big list. A Quiet Place, but that's a monster movie. That's not a fuck up technology.
I thought it was a zombie movie, but you basically like looked at me like I was some kind of heathen.
Yeah, like that exact look on her face right now.
Yeah,
Look
right
at that.
there. When you put up your post, I saw that face. It's like you weren't even
why?
there, but
No, because it's nowhere near. Like the whole point of it was the question of, are these potentially aliens? We don't know. That he hints at it. You don't get the full backstory. They're monsters.
so we should be looking for shoulder pads and dune buggies and getting prepared to wander the wasteland looking for gas.
I mean, if these volcanoes that Chris brought up start blowing, yeah.
Well, then we're just all dead. I mean,
No, that's a volcano. I didn't say a caldera. The caldera I don't want to put out into the universe because that's due to blow.
Which part of did Mad Max take place? Was it supposed to be taking place in Australia?
Yes.
I think, but it was the impression when they got to the second movie was this was worldwide.
Oh, right. But I'm just saying Australia is awfully close right now, isn't it?
To what?
Forest fires and
After the forest fires, the fires are under control now, though.
well, yeah.
April.
Super chickens.
Oh man, they would have the best.
We just put up a
chicken nuggets
picture of
off
2020
those.
can't get any worse, and then there's like April, and it's a giant chicken on a beach eating people.
See, now we need the meme of 2021 can't be any worse than 2020.
Well, see, that's just wishing for bad stuff to happen.
No,
It's like,
no, that's why I'm not even putting it out in theaters.
yeah, let's not. Let's just like let this go. Let's see what happens. Maybe this will be good. Maybe. It's like, of course, you did name it. Jenna actually has named the. Is it the year or the decade? That's the year or decade of robot overlords.
I said year. It's like for one, 2021 is robot overlord. That's what's I guess due at this point.
So the AIs are going to take over, and they're going the dogs that Bill wants are going to subjugate the people.
I mean, there is argument that the singularity has already occurred, but it's smart
It
enough
missed
to know
me.
not to tell us. Like it is aware, but it's not going to tell us because it's already figured out that humans would shut it off.
Yeah.
We
So it's
don't
just
have
covering
that
it up.
sort of computing ability yet, Jenna.
That you know of.
I'm just saying the theories that have been proposed by other like friggin' software engineers.
Yeah, I coming from computer programming, no. No.
All right. Well, in your opinion, then what would it take? And first of all, I also want to say that I am impressed that fat cat could get up there where it is right now.
I know. Look at how he's just like almost
I know.
Yeah.
flooping
it's like-
over the edge.
He is. He's like pudding, kind of like, some of the pudding is now leaking down the side of the cat.
Cats are non-Newtonian solids. They
Yeah, indeed. But all right. So all right. With
That is a
Moore's
funny
law-
idea, John. That
With Moore's law and the doubling of processing power and memory every 18 months, how long do you think it'll take before?
a fully self-sufficient, self-aware AI is not within our current technological, like, it's not on the horizon yet. No, it's not. You can teach computers to do things like to recognize certain things, like with neural nets, but that's a long way from getting them to, like, everything you want a program to do, you have to tell it to how to be able to do. Even if you're just like teaching it, like setting up that, okay, you recognize these images, do these things. That's still something that has to be manually done. You can't, we're still a long way out from a program that can fundamentally change its own programming based on things that we do not put into it beforehand.
But aren't computers starting to code other computers?
That's still a long ways away from developing.
I would argue
sort of
against the
sentience.
long ways away, because there's always a breakthrough at some point that skirts things forward quite a bit. With the combination of AI and machine learning of things that they're doing today, and just from a security aspect in things, Cisco uses some software and networks on their, what they call their Telos side, and that's all based off of AI stuff. So that, because humans, what they realize is we can't react fast enough to things that are, new viruses or malware that happens around the network. So they've shifted to more of these AI and machine learning type security programs, where as an outbreak occurs, it can recognize it and it can actually notify us and make adjustments on the fly to deal with those things on a larger scale for cybersecurity type stuff. I think that's one example of where, as we make these leaps forward, as we get through these breakthroughs, I wouldn't say it's going to be a long ways and we'll never, we're not at the horizon yet. Something could happen this year, something could happen in the next decade that puts that horizon within view. You can never say it's going to be a long ways away, in my opinion.
You think it'll be a surprise? Like it's just going to come awake and we won't even be ready for it?
No, I think we'll see it coming.
So.
We'll get warning signs, because there will be people saying that, we're just about there. Elon's already pushing against the fact that, we're already behind on the legal side of things and our laws and how we deal with it and how it should be used. I'm more concerned about those things than, what it's going to be capable of.
And I'm not going to assume it's going to come from the U.S. Like, there's a
no. I would assume it would come from South Korea or Israel, to tell you the truth. But
you think it will require quantum computing to actually get the horsepower to be able to handle all the calculations necessary?
Yeah, I think it's going to. I personally think it's going to be, something that requires quantum computing and something a next level of like
an exponential increase
brought
in
up
horsepower.
Yeah, John brought up Moore's law. Moore's law isn't going to get us to, we'll just get faster computers and more RAM.
Well, Moore's law says all of this doubles every 18 months.
I know.
It's like,
but that just gets us faster processors. We need processors that are not only faster, but can do so many more things all at the same time, and programming that can simulate a consciousness.
Well, and I've read too that we're rapidly approaching the point at which Moore's law will break down, because you can only put transistors in circuits so close together.
But
I think
it's
that's quantum computing is what's going to bring us to our next step in that.
yes, and it's like something in Westworld really resonated in terms of uh Dolores saying that humans really have a very simple algorithm in terms we're not as complex as we like to think we are. We're not that much we're just not. We're not all that. We're very simple.
And I think you're underselling how complicated a program that simulated even a simple human would be.
Oh no, I agree with you on that. But
And
it's
we're a long way off. This
It's
isn't something
probably-
that's.
yeah,
I don't think this is a thing that's going to arrive. Like someone in their garage is not going to put together the first AI.
Yeah,
No,
there's a
no.
different thing for
You're right
understanding
about that.
somebody's motivation to do something versus a lot of the complex underlying mechanisms that create consciousness, right? So from a perspective of saying, okay, you've got this individual, what's going to motivate this individual in a certain set of circumstances? Are they going to be motivated? Sorry, I knocked my phone receiver on the floor. Nobody's there. Is somebody going to be motivated in a particular situation more by their hunger, or are they going to be motivated more by a sense of reproduction
and that's
or
an
something like
individual
that?
thing. It's like
Versus
everyone has their own little programs.
Underlying mechanism of consciousness that creates a conscious mind and the ability to solve problems. I think that's a much more thorny issue than just figuring out motivations.
Well, the only problem it has to figure out is destroy all humans. It's like, and at some point,
You're assuming that that's going to be what it does. Like you're just assuming.
we design computer programs to be efficient.
Right.
The most
You're also
inefficient
assuming
thing.
that.
No, we do. That's what we do.
You
They're
have
all
no.
designed to be efficient.
You're talking about computer programs like you've written one before.
No, it's
Yeah, you're making a lot of assumptions, and you've never made a computer program before.
I've never made one, but I've used them.
Yeah, you've used them, but you've
And
never
they're-
made them.
They're all designed to be
can't-
efficient.
Using a car versus.
I have literally been doing this for almost
Oh, no, I
20
believe you.
years now, and I'm telling you, you're making a lot of assumptions about things that you don't know about.
You
Well,
don't
but-
make efficient programs?
The problem is,
Efficiency isn't always the first goal. It's
No.
getting it to do what you want. Then you worry about making it do the thing faster.
I
I
know
think-
in our
I think-
IT environment, when you're making programs, you have a very sophisticated program, but a lot of times you have this sophisticated program and you need some enhancements so that it'll do something else. Well, you don't go back and recode the whole program to make that little piece more efficient. You just find a way to wedge that piece into what you've already got.
So do you make your programs?
That maybe you're just going to jump over and say, okay, well, let's just ignore this piece or bypass this for the most part. But that old code's still sitting in there, and
So
eventually something might happen where that comes back to bite you in the butt.
what do you do? What do you do? What if you're not doing efficiency? Are you trying to program for accountability?
No,
Are you trying to-
what they're doing is they're programming for business efficiency. So how many hours is it going to take to modify this code to be more efficient versus how many hours is it going to take to get this code out there so that we can start generating revenue?
That's a little long for an epitaph for humanity, but yeah, I'll work with it. I think you just described the last sentence of humans. If you really want to, we did this because
it's mostly about capitalism. Programming
and capitalism is all about efficiency.
Programming is expensive. And
it is, and that's right there. That's more efficient
look,
to have bad code.
I don't
Yeah,
think
right.
I don't think having a computer someday in the near future enter the mirror stage. It's actually that wild a wilder thing. Biology is based on efficiency too.
yeah, but look
If
at all the
there's-
junk
It is,
DNA
but
we've got, right? Charles?
Exactly.
Well, but
it's just like Bill said. There's a lot of redundant crap that's built into it.
Yeah, but for
It's
some reason, self-awareness snuck up on us, and
Right.
we didn't. And that's not necessarily an efficient,
Well,
It can
no,
be
I
quite
think
depressing.
self-awareness was it was obviously an advantage for
in some
our early
cases.
ancestors who had it.
Well, yeah,
And we're the ones making computers. like unless we give them the self-awareness, it's not going to happen. And
Yeah, but
we don't
you
have
have
that capability yet.
Well, nothing gave us.
There's a lot of
self-awareness.
animals
We
that have
just kinda-
self-awareness that I never took part in making either.
Humans have naturally selected Homo sapiens. The entire genus of Homo sapiens has selected for bigger brains, which was the only real survival trick that they had. And out of the bigger brains, we got intellectual, we got self-awareness, but we also got culture, and culture is the true saver. That's what we did. It's like, and I don't think you can program a robot culture or an artificial intelligence
Sure,
culture.
you can. If you can give it self-awareness, you can program it culture.
But it wouldn't make any
Starting
sense.
with starting with the laws of robotics, if you're going that way,
It would kind of have to do it itself.
no,
It's like, well, because
once
our
again,
culture,
you're not
our culture
getting
doesn't
it.
mean anything to anybody but humans.
Once again, you're not getting
No,
the thing about computer programming is that they've got nothing that we don't give them.
So
Yeah,
far.
at first,
Like we
at first.
no forever for like it's just that way. Like that's how code
But
works.
Seth, from his understanding of self-awareness, John is arguing that once it becomes self-aware, it will make the decision to create its own culture. That's what he's saying. It's
That's
like
what I'm
you
saying.
At the end of the day, when it can do its own coding, it writes its own stuff. It doesn't matter what we gave it. It makes a
Exactly.
decision.
That's
Thank
what
you,
At that
John.
John
point,
said.
we're at the bottom of the totem pole. We're not efficient. We write
Well,
shit
it's like
code.
also it'll be two totem poles now. There'll be two different. It's literally like
You think
Well,
We're all
if-
theorizing here on what it could be. I mean, this is based off of
if
facts
there's an
we know
intelligent
today.
AI, then it's not going to be human by
And you're all
default.
assuming, like the way we're talking about it is it's going to be separate entities.
Yeah.
But we're moving more and more into a merged symbiotic relationship. So it's likely not going to be like a completely
And that's what I
artificial
thought about
intelligence.
when you brought up the singularity, Jenna. It's like the singularity is supposed to include humans.
No, as far as I understood, the singularity is just the robot becoming self-aware, and
That's
it's
the
all
beginning
completely
part. In the
artificial.
end, because humans are also becoming more prosthetically oriented.
Well, if
more-
it's our singularity, then it'll be us involved. Yeah.
yeah, so
It's too
it'll
late to go
be
back.
it'll be kind of a weird hybrid. I not even that. We're supposed to. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of upload. You remember upload, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the singularity, that we become the computers. The computers become us.
No.
But the
no.
computers are sophisticated enough, you're saying, to duplicate an individual's mental processes, basically to
Yeah.
create the mind of a human in a computer.
Even though over time they would lose their humanity because they would no longer be attached to the human condition.
Right.
No, like that's what I'm telling you. Like when you say singularity,
good job,
defin-
Linda.
the definition of the singularity is a hypothetical point in time at which the ultra intelligent machine will be defined as a machine that surpasses intellectual activities of any man.
Yeah.
It's a machine, no man, no biological connection.
That's
that is
my
the
understanding
singularity.
too. Yeah.
Oh no, there's no biological connection, but we're supposed to become part of that when we
So-
leave our biological connections.
You should
Good
John,
way.
you should read Pandora's Star and Judas Unchained by Peter F. Hamilton. And I think that has one of the best and more realistic versions of artificial intelligence and what will ultimately happen with it. It's kind of a side focus of the books.
What
But-
can you send that to me?
Yeah.
All right, because I will forget.
They're
I will
they're
forget.
big chunky books. So
All right. Well,
Great.
I think we're about out of time for this show. It was a lot of good discussion, some wide-ranging discussion on everything from robot dogs to artificial intelligence taking over everything. So, thanks
Here's
everybody
something
for.
no super volcanoes or robot overloads. I'd
Yes.
like an even kill 2021. That'd be cool.
the
Right.
robot in 2021, the robots will start a dance fight with humanity and win.
That's a good prediction.
I mean,
What's your
breakdancing
prediction,
has
Charles, for
joined the
2021?
Olympics, so
Robots stomp
Oh,
the yard's gonna happen.
Yeah, no. I think John just put it out there for right at the beginning of this discussion, which is the singularity is going to happen, but John's not invited.
All right.
I don't
Chris?
know that I want to be.
Any predictions for 2021, Chris?
Um,
Thank you, sir.
Predictions. I think this is the year of a major cybersecurity breach.
Worse than what the Russians
Another
have
one?
already done?
Yeah, it'll be worse. I don't think we know exactly what it'll be yet, but I think we're all very distracted right now.
Right.
And we're.
Oh God.
I think.
Well, and there was that huge breach at SolarWinds, so there's a lot of tools out there now.
SolarWinds
That,
breach and things like that.
What do you think that's going to do?
I don't know what it's going to do. It really depends. So like,
You have to have some
SolarWinds
thoughts about
breach,
it.
We have a
because-
lot of government agencies that use SolarWinds tools
yeah.
or Orion type tools, and so I have concerns over that. I know Cox Business here in Omaha is a major user of SolarWinds infrastructure tools and things like that. So I don't know. I think if anything, at a minimum, we'll see things like ISPs will be compromised for data. I don't think of attacks on infrastructure so much as the main weapon used today is, especially in politics and governmental power, is people's data.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to continue to see that, and if anything, sniffing on our networks and things like that. So that's my prediction: a big cybersecurity attack.
All right, John, what do you predict for 2021? Big story.
I don't know. If I had to predict something, I think COVID's going to mutate into something that's far worse.
Okay.
It's already starting to. It's already mutated into something that's far easier to transmit, but I think it's going to turn into something that has a much higher than a 2% death rate.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's a pretty good prediction.
And Jenna, did you have a prediction?
I think we're going to see, based off the increasing polarization, more domestic terrorist attacks. And I wouldn't be kind of based off what I said before, if some of it stems from people using deep fakes to promote the conspiracy theories they have, whether it be a political, scientific, anti-science.
Right.
Like there's going to be some type of bend. And I think we're going to see more domestic terrorism.
I think that'll happen on the 5th, actually. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And Seth?
I already made my prediction. Robots dance fight with humanity and they win.
Right.
What about you, Bill?
Gosh, I don't know. I think it's probably more along the lines of what Chris said. I'm kind of worried. That's the thing I'm worried about most now, is with all of the tools that have been stolen that are out there now to allow hackers and other governments to get in and steal data and compromise systems, that we're going to see a lot more of that type of thing this year. So that's what I'm watching out for.
Linda, you have any last predictions for us?
I'm too depressed.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to another episode of Galactic Driftwood Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you have any comments or thoughts of your own on what might happen in 2021, please put them in the comments section below. And we will look forward to seeing you again in another 2 weeks, where we'll have some more lively discussion. Thanks all for watching. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.